Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus on with myself, Alisa Mfukeng. This is day 2 of the Africa Partnership Conference happening right here in Mauritius. We still have some more content and more conversations coming your way. We spoke to some of the key voices and some of the stakeholders that were in attendance today. Have a look.
I'm not alone here. I have my colleague who are here, one of the Guinea, Madame Diane Kouyaté, the Deputy Manager, Madame Carole, and then we have also Mr. Philippe Vergniaud, which is the Business France. And the big announcement now is that Madagascar is joining us at this international network. And then our presence here is to network with all the people who are involved here. We have private company here, also have institution companies here, and then we will need to thank EDB, especially Mr. Ken, especially Dr. Sonale, especially Vinay, because they involve us. Also, they are also part of the International Francophone IPS. We are so keen with this African Partnership Conference because we strongly believe on African, for African, by African. If we don't do that, no one will do that. We have a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities. When you look about Africa, when you look about all the opportunities about Africa, you can see that around the world, all of minerals, we find it in Africa. All of agriculture, you find in Africa. All of young, I'm talking about the labor force you find in Africa. On the next 10 years, next 20 years, we need, all of the world will look into Africa to have the labor force. When you go to Europe, you will see that people, I'm so sorry for Business France, but you receive a lot of people who are going very, very old, and then they will look in Africa. We are talking about Japan, Japanese people, and then Japanese people are very old, and then people are looking about Africa to see that we need those people to be in touch with in Africa people. And then when you talk about USA, you talk about South America, people need to come in Africa. So this conference is very key to raise funds into Africa, to work into infrastructure into Africa, to work with finance into Africa, and even to have some ease of doing business into Africa. That is the purpose. We are here to network. We are here to show who we are. We are here to show what kind of this opportunity can be true for African people.
Sure. And some of the key takeaways, I'm sure you have been attending the conference and you were listening into some of the panels that took place. What particularly stood out for you?
I really appreciate 2 or 3 panels, and then where we're talking about some financing, I would say main projects. You know, I appreciate one of the key, I will say the key word coming from my colleague Yofi Grant, who said that we listen about one people saying to structuring some, I will say finances, I will say finance reforms. But the key point is infrastructure. Let me show you things. If I need to come in Mauritius, I need to go through maybe Addis Ababa, I need to go through Paris, I need to go through Dubai, and then I came here. I can spend around 12 hours before reaching here. So, and then this panel shows that we are very far about what is very important. A second key point is trust. Madame Carole mentioned it. We need to trust about all Africa people. And then this panel, we are looking here about that. We need people to say that we need to trust on African people. And then the third issue is the culture, barrier language. So we have French, we have English, we also have another language. But when we start trade between Africa, what kind of language we need to use? And then this is the point we mentioned on that.
So just speaking on, I just want to expand on what you touched on, trade within the African region. What role is your business playing to enhance intra-African trade? That's when
I've been elected as a chairman of the International Francophone APAs. 4 axes is my strategy. The first one is to have I call it in French, école d'excellence, a center of expertise. Why I'm doing that? Because I need people coming from IPAs. First of all, people who are working in IPAs, and secondly, the SMEs agents. they have the same standards. I'm part of Pan-African people who say that we need to have the African standards. These African standards start by education. When you educate people in African standards, then we can enhance this kind of partnership. The second thing is the withdraw the visa within countries. Can you imagine that if I need to go to Senegal ahead, I need a visa? Can you imagine if I need to go to Ivory Coast, I need a visa? But we are African people. This is the key challenge we need to work. And the third thing is that we need to reinforce the power on IPAs, Investment Promotion Agency. If we have this kind of powerful to drive public policies, we can just push our president, push our politics to be aligned with the vision or their vision to promote the growth in our country. That's the main ideas we have in our strategy, which has been validated by the board members, and then the way we are going through. And then I really appreciate the board members who are here. So we have the same vision. We need to go on that way.
Sure. And any parting shots?
As I mentioned in the beginning, a big announcement is that now we have Madagascar, which will join us in international network of IPAs, and then we need him. And we need, first of all, to benefit of their expertise. And I announce you that there also be maybe of WIPA, there could be the vice president in the next coming years. They will have our support, or we do that. And then we need also the EDB expertise to be a very benefit for us. That is the short story, I can say that.
I should congratulate the EDB for organizing this type of gathering, that under one roof, having all that good crowd to be able to reflect on all the potentials and opportunities that lies ahead in Africa, on mainland Africa. And for us, Mauritius, it's also give us that kind of visibility, and also time to also showcase what we can do together going forward. We all talk about the potential, the opportunities, all that lies on mainland Africa, but in terms of concrete actions, we don't see as much as we would have wished. But I think today, when we see that kind of commitment, when we see so many people that have traveled from far to be here, to at least talk and reflect on those opportunities, I think it's a good time to at least do some things, concretely. And I'm very confident, talking to so many people that I've met since yesterday, that they are all very keen to at least do some concrete projects on mainland Africa. I can tell you one thing, that even most of the big DFIs, be it in Europe, be it in UK, be it in the US, they're all looking towards Africa today, because with what has been going on lately, there's a shift in focus now in terms of investment. Despite the fact that it is perceived sometimes as the risk level being high in Africa, and therefore they expect more returns. But that's where I think Mauritius can be playing a very crucial role in mitigating those risks, due to the fact that we have a number of IPPAs, Investor Promotion and Protection Agreements, with a number of countries in Africa, and also with DTAs that we have, that gives an additional layer of security and comfort to investors. And I can tell you one thing, that over the years, since we set up our IFC, it's been 30 years now, so we have a long experience, a track record of how we work in terms of that space of global business and cross-border investment. And I feel that today we can, of course, share that experience, and also demonstrate how we can attract investments into Africa, and Mauritius playing that kind of platform for any cross-border investment. I can tell you one thing, that we stand ready to be part of that. Major transformation is going to happen. We're talking about, the mineral reserves that exist on mainland Africa. 30% of that is found in Africa. In terms of the consumer market, 1.3 billion people, which is going to grow further in the years to come. In terms of investments, therefore, potential is there. So I believe that it has everything today to offer for investors who are looking for good returns. And at a time like this, we can all be standing ready to be able to attract those investments. And Mauritius will be, of course, playing a very crucial role in that. The more so that with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement now, which is something which is almost operational, we can say that we'll see more and more of intra-Africa trade. So this also will send a signal to investors to look at Africa as a place to set up their businesses, their activities, given that all of the raw materials are found on the mainland Africa. So
also just tell us about some of the plans or strategies that you have in place that will enhance Mauritius' participation in intra-Africa trade.
I must say that already the number of organizations, local organizations and companies that operate on mainland Africa for a number of years now, and I can tell you that they have been very successful in their endeavors in those countries, and we feel that we can strengthen that ties with Africa. As an IFC, in the past, we were very much focused on the Indian market, but in the last couple of years, we've seen more and more now investment going into Africa through Mauritius. And we have, of course, put in place what we call the Mauritius Africa Hub, that we want to at least demonstrate the will for the Mauritian government to be more present on the African market. Like I said, with this new agreement now, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, already we had some regional blocks under COMESA and SADC. There are lots of trade going on between Mauritius and those African states. So we'll see more and more of that happening in the years to come. Of course, when we talk about trade in goods and services, but also when it comes to my own ministry, we're focusing more on trade in services, and this is where we are trying to at least get the things going at a faster pace. In fact, yesterday itself, I was talking to the Secretary General of the AfCFTA to see how best we can get things to be done very, promptly, so that we can see more and more of trading services happening between African states. So, like I said, we have everything in place to be able to be more present. And one thing that we have also talked about to come up with an ESG framework for Africa, because we feel that there's been a lot of interest now from DFIs to go into impactful investments, and if we have the right framework in place, we can attract even more investments for the region. And with this kind of framework in place, that would be also beneficial for the whole region. So a number of initiatives that we have taken, and we feel that this is something that's going to be beneficial for one and all in the region.
And just lastly, perhaps in just 5 words, what message would you like to convey to the vast array of stakeholders in attendance at the conference?
No, I think we've been talking a lot about the potentials, about the opportunities, about what Africa represents. Lots of talking. I think if we all put our head together and work toward that in transforming those talk into actions, that would be some very good signal that we're going to send to the whole African nation. I think this is a time. This is a time for Africa. We have been talking about that for some time, and I can only tell you that we stand ready to be a very important part in that transformation that's going to happen. I think we have a few lessons to learn from what has been happening lately with the COVID-19 pandemic and the crisis in Ukraine and the whole geopolitical shift happening. We have all the right ingredients to be the focus for the world in terms of investments, in terms of development that need to happen on mainland Africa. And it's up to us now to take the lead and to be to drive this transformation. And I can tell you one thing: we have all the resources, we have all the capacities to be able to do it. It's a question of joining hands, and I think this kind of a forum where we have all these big people under one roof to talk about it, we're going to definitely see some good things happening. And I can tell you one other thing that is also going to assist us in that transformation is the introduction of new technologies. That's one thing that we need to take the most advantage of it. There are some challenges in Africa. There are some access challenges, but with new technologies, we can overcome those challenges. And that's how we need to take the most of it.
Issa, thank you so much for your time. Tell us about some of the key takeaways or your highlights from the summit so far.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. Actually, I'm the Vice Chairman of the Economic Development Board, and this conference on the 2 days has been very successful because we've been able to attract around 150 international delegates, mostly from Africa, and there has been a lot of interest throughout the conference from participants, from people calling from abroad, local, international, with respect to the opportunities that this unity in partnership for Africa represents. Today, Africa is definitely showing great signs post-COVID and post the Ukrainian crisis that we are a continent to count with. And Mauritius' position is that our DNA is African. That is very important. We have a jurisdiction of choice in terms of financial services sector, manufacturing, export services, as well as the new technologies. I would say we made a lot of progress in terms of the fintech area, as well as the green, the blue bond, the issuance, over and above the ESG accompaniment, which is very important with respect to looking at the bridging the poverty, as well as sustainable and looking at the social of our African and brothers and sisters.
Now, Mauritius is a firm gateway to Africa. How do you aim to accelerate cross-boundary partnerships and drive investments in the region?
Excellent. So I think the African trade agreements, as well as our, let's say, our position as a founder member of the SADC COMESA, and our, let's say, close ties has been already an established framework whereby all the capital into Africa, through the Capital Economics report that was recently published, $82 billion has been structured into Africa through Mauritius. We have created around 4,000 jobs directly, and over and above, we've been heavily contributing to the, let's say, the taxes that has to be put into the African economies. And all these 82 billion that I make reference have not been structured through the DTA, essentially. And I would say that's a great achievement for Mauritius as a contributor to Africa, and not a one-way process that Mauritius is taking, but Mauritius is also giving to Africa. I believe when you look at the real sector, there is the education sector, whereby around 2,000 students from Africa regularly comes. The Mauritian government, on the other side, offers scholarship for Africans to come and study in Mauritius. And looking at the social stability, the currency, the level of, let's say, ecosystem, whether education to medical, even going to the market, there's a lot of opportunities. I believe that we are a player that we should definitely work with all our African counterparts.
Great. And just lastly, what message would you like to convey to your delegates in attendance?
I think I must thank all of them, as well as all the viewers of CNBC Africa, because without this partnership of CNBC Africa, of our African brothers and sisters, Mauritius would not thrive like we're doing right now. And I believe in partnership, I believe in collaboration and team working. That's the key message I want to do. And lastly is walk the talk. Is we need to make things happen, because it's the opportunity for us to grab for Africa.
So just to portray Mauritius Telecom, so we are the leading telecom operator in Mauritius with an asset of $600 million US, and with a strong financial foothold. So we are the leader in the telecom sector, providing services like fixed line, mobile services on 4G, 5G. We have also the mobile money. We have also the TV offering. And also in terms of broadband, we have also all the household connected on fiber. So I would say our success relies on our technology choice. So today, I am proud to say that we are among the 7th country in the world with fiber penetration in the household. All the households in Mauritius are fiber today, and we are offering internet speed from 50 megabit per second up to 1 gig. We also among a few countries in sub-Saharan Africa and Indian Ocean having a state-of-the-art Tier 4 data center, which we can also provide facility to many, I would say, African countries. And in terms of connection with the rest of the world, we have 3 submarine cables connected now. So 2 submarine cables connecting, one in Kenya, one in Cape Town, that is a Safe and Lion. And very recently, we have installed a T3 cable. We are the only investor in this cable. It's a cable from Mauritius to South Africa, close to Durban, with a capacity of 72 terabytes per second. And we also connected with the Far East through India, in Cochin, and to Penang in Malaysia. So I would say in terms of diversity of connection worldwide, we are very well connected. Now, in terms of digital transformation, as you know, most of the companies, they are doing like digital transformation, and we are playing a very vital role for Mauritius as enabling the digital economy with the penetration, I would say, on mobile. It's more than 150% mobile penetration. In terms of internet, we are almost 80% internet penetration in the country. So providing that kind of technology to all our stakeholders, our client base, it's something that we are doing to enable the country to embark on a digital transformation. Now, in terms of the company itself, we are also embarking on a digital transformation in terms of our processes and procedures. We are now moving more in terms of having I would say, a digital, life cycle, where we are enabling the client to empower them to subscribe, to make their own complaint to our services. They don't need to come to our shop. They can do everything online. So this is what we have done in terms of digital transformation. We also having a lot of, I would say, software development application engineers that are ready to develop artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics to help us in that digital transformation.
Now, from hearing from what you were saying, because you've got quite a bit of outreach, how are you using your platform to help assist the payment platforms for the banking services?
Yeah, so we have invested in a mobile money platform, which is I would say, a digital banking platform that we have started since 2 years. So we are now in the fintech industry, and today I would say all the utilities bill, whether it is our telecom bill, water supply, wastewater or electricity bill, you can pay it by means of this mobile money. Now what we have done, we are also offering as a white label to other banks which they don't have to invest in the platform, because our platform can have it, what we say, platform as a service. So we can offer it to banking sector for them to enter into this mobile money.
And just any departing thoughts of the conference and how the key messaging came out that can help drive partnership in Africa?
Yeah, now because our success stories and our proven years of experience in transforming this company and the country into a digital economy, we think that we can leverage on those experience and success stories to replicate in Africa and help our partners in Africa to help them in this digital transformation. If you look at Africa, I would say the mobile penetration is around 44%, compared to the rest of the world, which is standing at 68%. And for the internet penetration, it's about 44% compared to 66% the rest of the world. So I think Africa has a large gap to fill in for the digital divide. And now, if you don't transform your country into a digital economy, it's something that won't be able to help the country to grow. Now, there is a saying also that 10% increase in internet penetration can impact with a 2% increase in your GDP. So I think our success story can help some of the African countries to transform into a digital economy. So that's what we are planning here in this conference, to see we can have some opportunities.
And that's it. That's how we wrap up day 2 of the Africa Partnership Conference that took place right here in Mauritius. We certainly hope that you did enjoy this episode of Focus On. But from myself and the team, it's goodbye for now.